Welcome everyone. I'm very excited to welcome you again. And every week I present you with an amazing entrepreneurial woman. And today I have the utmost pleasure and privilege to introduce to you one of the most amazing business consultant in our region, which is Diana Lidstone. Welcome. Did I say that right?
You did. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So good to have you with us, Diana. I'm very excited about our talk today. And I'm going to begin by asking you to present yourself. Tell us who you are for those who don't know.
So, as you heard, Diana Lidstone, better known as the Entrepreneur's GPS. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody pretty well knows what a GPS does. Takes you from point A to point B. And that's what I do for, I like to call ambitious women entrepreneurs.
I love that.
Who really want to not just have more clients in their business, because I think everybody does, but the bottom line is, I think we all want to make more profit.
Yes.
But we don't necessarily want to burn the candle at both ends.
That's right.
So I've been there, done that. And I think there's a lot of, as you know, there's a lot of women starting businesses today.
Yes.
At different stages of their lives.
That's right.
And, maybe they have young children at home, so they only have maybe 20 hours a week. Or maybe they're older and they're looking after a parent, so their time is reduced. Or maybe they're still working full time and they're trying to build a business on the side. So everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own, challenges about building a business.
Yes.
And that's what keeps me on my toes every single day.
I love it. So you are really a great resource for She Did It, because all of those scenarios that you described is really what we're trying to target. So just being able to inspire and motivate women through telling the story behind the success, right? So that brings me to asking you, how did you get started? It seems like you're so passionate about this work, but where did that start?
Well, I think it originally started, I've been an entrepreneur for more than 30 years.
Wow.
If you go way back to the 1980s when home computers were just starting, my son was an infant and I started what I called a typing service at home.
Okay.
Moved, because my husband had a corporate job, so we moved. I started it again, moved, started it again. And that was one of my very first businesses. Then we had moved back to Montreal. I think by this time I had 2 children. My daughter both kids were in school. My daughter was just going into school. And, the typing business, I thought, well, there's got to be something more that I can do.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who had a retail store, and, a standalone, wasn't part of a chain. And I thought, that's kind of interesting, but I really don't want to do retail, because retail's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
That's right.
So I started talking with her. We went to a trade show, and within 3 months, guess what? I owned a building and had my own retail store.
Oh, wow.
And, I jumped in, like anything I do, I jump in. Did I know anything about inventory management? No. Did I know anything about hiring people? No. Did I know anything about, logos or marketing or
nothing? No. Wow.
So there was a steep learning curve, made lots of mistakes. Mm-hmm. And after 12 years, well, not after 12 years, but we sold the store and the building that we owned after 12 years. And truly, I learned so much during that time.
That's right.
But what I saw during that time was I was involved in the local business association. Mm-hmm. And I saw so many women trying to start a business and failing. So either they got into debt, or they got burnt out, or they just struggled, lost their passion, and then closed. Wow. And it was then that I realized that, it doesn't have to be like that.
That's right.
When I sold my store, closed, I was burnt out. So I learned how not to run a business.
That's good. Wow.
And took some time off, started going back to networking and met a dear friend of mine. She was in transition as well.
Okay.
And she said, well, Diana, why don't you help people run their business or learn how to run a profitable business? I had never heard of the word coaching.
Okay.
And I went, you mean people will pay me for that? And that's kind of how I started.
Wow.
And it was, again, trial by error.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, I think my first private client paid me like $300 a month.
Okay.
But
that's not bad.
Well, it wasn't
to start.
You have to start somewhere.
You have to start somewhere, yeah.
But I really didn't know what a real coaching business looked like. So a couple of years ago, I hired a really a person from the States who had a very successful, very large coaching business, and kind of went, oh, that's how you do it. So that was a real eye-opener. So since that time, I've been able to really make some adjustments, really. And those adjustments have not only helped me, but have helped my clients get, great results.
That's awesome.
That's the long and the short of it.
Wow, that's really beautiful story. And so from what I hear is that you never had a 9-to-5, so you kind of just jumped into entrepreneurship or what?
Way back I had a 9-to-5.
Okay.
I went to university, got not a business degree, but a Bachelor of Arts in geography.
Interesting.
Was going to become a teacher.
Really?
Because really, when I look back over my lifetime, I have always been some type of teacher.
For sure.
I used to teach horseback riding.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yep. That's how I put myself through school, through university, was
nice.
teaching horseback riding.
Okay.
Then I was going to university and I thought, okay, I'll become a teacher. Well, just as I was entered into the teaching program, the Quebec teachers went on strike. So I went, well, that's not such a good thing. So I changed my course, quick, course adjustment, and took a secretarial course and became an executive secretary for a number of years.
Oh, okay.
But, I didn't quite, I was like that square peg trying to go in the round hole. Always looking at the bigger picture, seeing how things could be done differently. And, in corporate, doesn't always respond to that type of thing.
That's
right.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so from this corporate job, then did you quit? Like, what happened?
Oh, well, my husband got transferred.
Okay.
So I had a number of corporate jobs, executive assistants.
Okay.
My husband was transferred here, transferred there, and I thought, well, there must be something that I can do. So at one point, I actually went back to teaching horseback riding.
Okay. Okay.
And my kids laughed at me and they've said, well, Mom, that's not a job. You just love what you're doing. But that has stuck with them even today.
That's right.
Because they're both doing exactly what they love doing and they don't really consider it a job.
And that is such a key ingredient for just overall success, I believe. And that's what I work with my clients as well. And this is something that comes out of my mouth every time. Don't work for money. You got to do what you love and love what you do.
Exactly.
So we're going to take a minute here, take a pause, and we'll be right back. So continuing this discussion about doing what we love, being passionate about the work that we do, and it doesn't mean that we don't want to make money, because we know that's important, or else, it's a hobby. But that's an important component to success, right?
It is.
And so how would you define success for yourself, and as well, what other ingredients you would add to the mix?
Well, as you said, I think success is, no, I know, success is for everyone something different.
Yes.
What is the quality of life that you want to lead? And when I'm working with clients, that's where we start.
That's it.
What do you want your business to look like? And how can you fit your life and your business together?
Yes.
Because I believe it's, you're working to support your life, not the other way around.
Love it. That's right.
And so what is the quality of life that you want? How many hours a week do you want to, work?
Mm-hmm.
What's a good return on your time investment?
Yes.
So for me, both my children are grown.
Mm-hmm.
They're away. My husband works part-time. I work as much or as little as I want. Very often, but it's what I love to do. And so for me, the success is, that return on investment.
That's
I
right.
love seeing what other women can accomplish.
Yes.
When you see that spark in somebody's eye that they've got it.
Yes.
That's the reward.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's really good. And so, just coming back to that spark, in these women that you work with, what would you say to someone that maybe is in a rut right now, or maybe they're working a job that they really hate, and they're looking to have that spark, right? And maybe they do have a passion, that they're doing on the side, and they want to kind of jump, but they're afraid, right? So what would you say to them?
Everybody's afraid.
Yeah.
Right? Whether there's the fear of success, there's the fear of failure.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I want to say there's two things. First of all, there's a difference in my mind, a difference between an entrepreneur and a business owner.
Yes, I agree with that.
They are not
completely.
exactly the same.
I agree.
And some people who start businesses should not start businesses because of their own, how could I say it, character,
Traits.
traits,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
core values,
Yes.
whatever it happens to be. There's being an entrepreneur is somebody who takes risks, somebody who is willing to take risks, somebody who's willing to fail, somebody who has persistence, has drive.
Yes.
That's what it takes.
Love
And
that.
not just passion, because passion isn't always enough to get you to the profit.
Yes, love it. That is so good. I think we could unpack that and go real far with it, but somebody will have to have a coaching session with you for that. So what I want to focus on in that same vein is talking about some of your failures. So how can you share with us maybe one that you don't mind sharing, and what you learned from that, and how has that helped you to become or to continue your successful business?
As I said, I think everybody has to fail, because you can only become successful by failing and trying.
Love that.
I'm not going to go back 30 years, but if I'm talking about my coaching business,
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have I gone to a networking when I first started out and had an elevator pitch that, just flattened, just didn't work, and you go home and you go, oh, geez. Or you have a sales conversation with someone and you go, oh, I was so pushy, or I did that all wrong, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's okay, because that's how you learn.
Exactly.
And I've made every single one of those mistakes and many more. When I'm talking with clients, I'm very free about sharing the mistakes that I made, because
That's good.
that's how they learn. That's how you learn, every single one. I mean, I made a mistake when my husband and I went to sell our retail business. We had somebody that wanted to buy it. Now, we had a store full of inventory, and they said, yes, we want to buy it. We had an agreement, and it was conditional on the building inspection, because they were buying the
Right.
building. So we started liquidating our inventory.
Oh. Okay.
And then they said no, they didn't pass the building inspection. Now, I won't get into that story. And so here we were, left with an empty building and somebody who reneged.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, that was a kick in the stomach.
For sure.
Next time when we went to sell, we knew exactly how we were going to do it. And instead of, liquidating, we actually said, okay, you at 30, I think it was 60 days after the sale, then you can take possession and we will take that time to liquidate our inventory.
Yeah.
So every mistake that you make is a way to success.
That's right. And kind of a way to prevent, the next mistake too, right?
Exactly. Now, I always say if you keep doing those mistakes over and over again, then, there's something wrong. But, yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think that, because I know you were in partnership with your husband for the particular business that you were in, the retail business, but moving into your coaching business, have you found value in collaborating or partnerships, or how has that been successful for you?
That's an interesting question because I am not by nature, I'm kind of a loner.
Yes, okay.
And I am not one that, there are many people who are great connectors.
Yes.
They bring people together, they bring community together. That is not one of my traits.
Okay.
Strategic alliances,
Yes.
that's a different story. So coming up this year, actually, I'm collaborating with a speaking coach, and we're putting together a program because I believe speaking is part of marketing.
Yes.
And so we're putting those two together to create this unique take on speaking. But for the most part, no, I'm a bit of a loner. Now, I do enjoy, sitting down, having great conversations with people, but that is not my strength. My strength is going out and teaching, actually.
Love that. And so I guess being able to know that about yourself is really, really important. And that also prevents you from making mistakes and doing something that you turn around and say, oh man, that was a bust.
Well, and it's interesting because I've started to put together something I call your entrepreneurial DNA. Mm-hmm. And when I'm working with clients, I won't get into the whole DNA thing, but the DNA stands for distinctive natural advantage.
Yes.
And we take a look at a whole bunch of different things. And I actually have a system to help people understand where their strengths are. Mm-hmm. And why aren't we building businesses focused on our strengths?
Love that. Very important.
So, so we do that. And it's a whole combination of things that we look at. We looked at things that are from your past, things that are your, what I call your effortless talent. Like, what do you do so well that people look at you and go, how did you do that?
I love the zone of genius.
Yeah. So putting those things together and where all these things intersect becomes what I call your primary differentiator, how you can be perceived as being different than other people.
That's great.
And when we do this, then you can work from your strengths.
Love that. So we're going to take another pause and we'll be right back. So we're back with this amazing discussion with Diana. I'm loving every minute of it. So we talked about strategic alliances, as you said, which I really love that aspect. And we talked about, having your DNA and really building your business according to your strengths, which I love this discussion. I could go on and on about it. But I want to kind of switch direction a little bit to ask you, what did you do to invest in your business? Did you invest money? Did you invest in other ways in order to get you to where you are today? Because a lot of people think, well, I don't have any money, I can't really start a business, or I don't have any expertise, I can't really do this. So what is your take on that? What was your experience?
Personally, investing money, yes. I invested in coaching. I've always had my own coach, even from day one in my coaching business. I don't think I've ever been without a coach. There was a time, actually, I had an overlap. I had a business coach, and I had a speaking coach. But I think one of the things that I see common is that businesses like service-based businesses, let's say coaching, for example.
Yes.
It's so easy to get into that business. Maybe you go and take a certification, and you don't need, not like when I had my retail business, I didn't need funding, I didn't need, don't need inventory. So I believe there's this bit of perception on women who are starting a business that it's easy to get into, and they don't consider the funding that they really need to invest in themselves ongoing.
Yes.
Today I just did a Facebook Live on the fact that there's two parts of your business. There's the thing that you're really good at, or your craft.
Yeah.
But then there's this whole other thing called running a business.
That's right.
And
sometimes you run away from that part, right?
Well, and how many, lawyers, bookkeepers, coaches, real estate, you name it, they go and they get a certification or a degree or whatever it happens to be in their craft.
Yes.
But they have no training running a business.
That's right.
And do they invest the same amount of time, money, and effort in learning how to run the business
Yes.
as they did in learning their craft?
Most likely not.
Most likely not. And so they wonder why their business isn't as successful, why it just doesn't, I've stood on stage and I've gone like this, you can't expect clients to
appear out of the sky.
Fall from the sky.
Yes. Yeah.
Your number one job as a business owner is finding clients. Well, that's marketing.
Exactly.
And I believe people, they say they don't have the money, but you ask them if they went out to dinner or took a trip or whatever. It's their decision whether they prioritize how quickly they want to grow their business.
That's it.
And,
Absolutely.
There is funding available. There's funding from BDC. There's funding from banks. There's funding from parents. I've known people, not that I would recommend it, but have, borrowed or cashed in this or whatever to get the funding so that they can get their business up and rolling. Because I call it the truth equation.
Yes.
The truth equation is, let's say you want to earn $5,000 a month, but you're only earning $1,000 a month. So every month you're missing that opportunity of $4,000 a month.
Yes.
Times 12, times how many years, you are missing that income earned. So if you take $4,000 times 12, that's 48.
Not good with math, but I think it is 48.
So
Yeah.
if you invested half of that, a quarter of that in growing your business and learning how to run your business, you would be so much further ahead. So much further ahead. But, it's up to them. It's up to them.
And I think it's also in educating people in that sense. Sometimes, many times, decisions that we make or business decisions is because we don't have that background as well. And so I believe that what you do with the videos and just kind of that education piece, I think is really key. And I want to get into that, but I don't like doing the live stuff. That's my truth. That's my my side note. But yes, and that's part of the reason why I decided to do the web series, because it's helping me, you know. But I love having conversations, see? But me being in front like this and just kind of talking to, you know, no one,
Well,
talking to the camera.
You just have to pretend
Yeah,
your husband's the other side of the camera. That's all.
That he really trains me on that, to really, you know, pretend that you're talking to a crowd, which really helps me.
Yeah.
Right. But I believe that that education is really key to having people understand the importance
Yeah.
of investing that way and being further ahead. Right. So, because sometimes some of us, you know, with these kind of, you know, ways of running away from that marketing side, kind of have to go at it, you know,
have to embrace
forward.
it.
Yeah,
You have to embrace
You
it.
have to, and you're gonna make mistakes, and it's not gonna be perfect, but you have to start somewhere, and you
Yeah.
kind of have to take it head on, especially if you're afraid of it.
Well, and you know, I've worked with all kinds of people who are afraid of visibility. But the visibility is not really what they're afraid of, is being judged.
Yes.
And you know what? So what? Who cares?
That's
Move on.
right.
What's next? You know.
Exactly, absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's the mindset also work that has to be done, right? So
Yes.
that's a huge piece as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could just go on and on.
I know.
That's for sure. But I want to leave you some time to kind of give us some parting words, and as well, you know, where we can reach you and how we can connect with you if we want to know more. Because I know people want to know more about
Thank
what
you so
do.
much. Thank you. Well, I will share the book that I wrote, Shift into Rich, Navigate the 9
Love that.
Roadblocks to Small Business Success.
Okay.
Simple read, lots of exercises. And when I'm having a conversation with people, and you know, if they're not ready to embrace coaching yet, buy a book, follow the exercises, do the work, and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. As you know, I also here in Ottawa do live events.
Yes.
So April 3rd is my spring event coming up, which is Shift the Marketing event. And then in the fall, I usually do an event called Shift the Money event, but I'm changing it this year to
Okay.
Shift the Profit.
Oh, I like
event.
that.
Because I believe it's more about profit than it is about money.
Very true.
So that's at the end of September.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'd love, people want to reach out. My website, I like to keep things simple, so it's very, very simple, dianalidstone.com.
Good. Awesome. And your Facebook page as well?
Yep, Diana Lidstone, the Entrepreneur's GPS.
Love
There's a
that.
page. I have a group called Shift Into, the group is Shift Into, geez, I don't remember.
That's okay.
That's pretty good.
We'll find you. We'll find you.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I'm on Facebook. And I do, you know, Facebook Lives Monday and Wednesdays at noon, all
Okay.
kinds of videos, little rants, you know.
I love that. I need to get into that.
Oh, it's fun.
Absolutely.
It's fun.
So, any parting words for us?
I think, you know, you have some great words here. Dream big, believe in yourself,
Yes.
and persistence and consistency are really truly the keys that you need to get going, because how many people have stopped just this short of success?
Very true. I don't know if you've seen that image floating around online where there's a person with a pick, you know, like kind of digging, and then they kind of stop where, because it's on the other side.
Yeah, they're just that far away.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's so true. So would you agree that having community is really one of the greatest ways to kind of keep yourself motivated
for sure.
and accountable and
Sure.
all of that?
When,
Yeah.
you know, in my group program, we have a great community where people can, you know, ask questions. When they're afraid or when they want to test something, it's a great place for them to do that. And, you know, entrepreneurs like you and I, for the most part, a lot of us work from home, right?
Yeah.
We're by ourselves. And it can feel like you're the only one out there with that problem.
That's right.
When you're not really.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I had at heart to create a co-working space, because that isolation piece is a very big determinant to, if you're going to keep going or not sometimes, right? So definitely. Yeah. And also the She Did It community really invite you to join us either online or on our events. We have She Did It event every third Friday of the month. And so you're welcome to attend if you're in the region of Ottawa, Gatineau, or if you want to travel down, come on down. We would love to have you. And we also have online events coming up. So stay tuned, shedidit.ca. Do you have anything else you want to say before we say goodbye?
Just thank you so much for this time together, and congratulations, for doing this, for launching She Did It. I think it's going to be a real positive addition to the community here. So well done.
Thank you so much, Diana.
You're welcome.
We would love to have you again in whatever capacity you're willing. And so thank you. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you again.